Hearts of Iron 4 Götterdämmerung is finally here, and we're gonna start a brand new game, 1936, as the German Reich. Of course, Iron Man mode, historical AI focuses. The main focus of the DLC is Germany, and as you would expect, there's a lot of new flavor, as well as a completely new meta, which is why today we're gonna be going down the historical path as the German Reich. There are, of course, a lot of alternate history paths that we could take, including the monarchist path, the communist path, the democratic path, and a few extra that diverge along the way, but they're all silly and unrealistic, so we're gonna remilitarize the Rhineland. Research-wise, we're gonna be starting with basic machine tools, construction 1, and electronical mechanical engineering. The 4th slot we're gonna leave empty because we want to do a little bit of cheesing with the technology to adapt to our brand new focus tree. Compared to previous versions of Hearts of Iron 4, the national focus has a redesigned economic path. In fact, you can left click on the bottom left side of your screen and you can see the Army path, the Air Force, the Kriegsmarine, the economic path, which of course has two options. You can choose to prioritize economic growth, which in essence means you get rid of the MEFO bills and you can actually have a semi-decent economy, or you can go down the 4-year plan, which is the autarky plan, where we keep the MEFO bills and eventually we go down an economy of war, as it's called, where by expanding, we keep the economy going. By stagnating and not conquering other nations, we fall behind. We're going to be deleting the light tanks. We don't really need light tanks. We're going to delete the medium airframes as well. And the submarines, we're going to just go down to 1 submarine. Once all of these are finished, we're going to queue up some new submarines. So we're going to need a little bit of Navy experience in order to do that. Let's assign 10 dockyards for all of these so that they finish a little bit faster. I personally like to not assign any extra dockyards for the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau now. In fact, I kind of like to delete them, but I'm going to go down a roleplay / historical path in this playthrough, since it is the first video in the new update, and I find it easier for newer people as well as more experienced people that have yet to play Götterdämmerung to follow along. Now we're also going to assign 1 anti-air Rheinmetall organization and 1 civilian train. We're going to have 13 infantry equipment, 3 support equipment, 4 on the Bf-109s and 2 on the Junkers 87, and we're also going to be importing some rubber from Siam, since we're not going to be fighting Siam in this campaign. I don't mind giving them my 1 civilian factory in exchange for that trade. Construction wise, we're gonna build up 1 infrastructure in Mosland, and then we're gonna follow that up with max out civilian factories. You do this by shift left clicking. It builds the maximum amount of factories it can build in that state, and then after we're gonna do the same infrastructure in Hessen and max out the civilian factories. We're not building in the Rhineland just yet because with the new focus tree, we actually can get 25% construction reduction in the Rhineland. We do that by going for building the dam, which offers plus 15 construction speed permanently, as well as after we get Martin Bormann's optimized Reich service, we get another 10% increase in our speed for constructing buildings. Now, alongside the research slots, we also have a new feature, the experimental facilities. There's 4 types of experimental facilities. We have a physics, naval, air, and land facility, and we have a certain amount of projects we could research. You can actually see these projects if you click on the available projects, and for some of these, you will need specific researches done beforehand. For example, in order to do the P1000 Ratte land cruiser, we need to have the super heavy tank chassis, as well as if we click over here on land warfare facility, we also see that we need 3 breakthroughs. What are breakthroughs? Well, this is over here on the right side of the experimental facilities. It's basically the currency for researching projects. You automatically get this particular currency as time passes from either researching stuff. For example, we're getting progress for the air and the physics research by researching electronic mechanical engineering, as well as we get progress from having facilities, which is why we will be eventually building a nuclear research facility and an aerodynamic facility, maybe even a naval facility. Let's see. They are pretty expensive, and I'm not going to build them right now. I'm going to do that a little bit later once we have an established economy. We want to be spamming at least 50 civilian factories first, so we unlock the next research slot. Now, moving back to the experimental facilities, we're going to assign Karl Heinrich Emil Becker as our initial scientist. As you can see, after we've assigned them, we already are getting 0.10 daily progress gain from the land facility in Brandenburg, which is located right here. And with the new feature, you can also do air raids where you disable these facilities, as well as you can even disable certain monuments, as I like to call them, or important buildings like the Big Ben can be bombarded in a raid, for example, when we attack the British, but that's something we'll get into later down the line. Now, I'm gonna actually hold on to the 1 breakthrough that we start with. I'm not going to research the flame panzers. I'm not going to research the military engineer vehicles because I really want to get the heavy howitzers. These are actually a really good support unit. With the support unit, we will get significantly more soft attack, collateral extra damage, and so on. And I'm going to use this for most of my frontline divisions, infantry divisions that is. It might be super high production cost, but we can lower the production cost during the process of researching this particular project, as well as we only need 3 artillery pieces per support company to get the bonus, so it's actually pretty good. Now, army-wise, I'm going to be assigning all of these under Werner from Bloomberg. It is temporary. Bloomberg's going to leave us after we start doing our national focuses because he gets ousted. We're going to separate the 24 main divisions, and I'm going to have another 2 as well as another 4 separate. The 4 units will be led by Wilhelm Ritter von Lieb, and the 2 units will be led by Johannes Blaskowitz. I'm doing this because I'm going to be sending these 2 soldiers as volunteers in the Ethiopian War. It's not going to give me too much army experience, but it's better than no army experience. Even if we get 5 to 10 army experience, that means we can update some of our division templates. Airplane wise, we're going to delete all of the air wings. We're going to click on airbase in Berlin, type N, and then we do 3 fighter wings. Press K so we can start training them. Same thing in the south. Press N for tactical bomber wings. Press K to train them as well. We're doing this because we're going to use these planes as volunteers in the Spanish Civil War as well as the Sino-Japanese War. I'm also going to convert all of these units to cavalry brigades. The reason I'm doing that, and I'm also going to be spamming as many cavalry brigades as I can, is because I need to have more divisions in order to send at least 4 or maybe even 5 volunteers to the Spanish Civil War. So we're just going to quickly spam these units before they're actually ready to properly deploy once they have the 20% training required to early deploy. And if you're wondering why I am not going to be using the light tanks, is because they're freaking useless. I'm going to use medium tanks in this entire playthrough like a real human would. There you go. Our units have arrived in Ethiopia. Let's go ahead and ship them off to the front line. One of them can stay in the province of Wello and the other one in the province of Shiwa, because eventually the Sultanate of Ausa will get annexed by Italy since we're playing on historical AI focuses. 30th of January, and that means we have 30 days of extra research we can use. That means we can switch over the basic machine tools to this particular slot. How do we do that? Well, we click on basic machine tools and then we click on literally any other technology, such as say the pack technology, for example. Then go back to the 4th technology slot, click on basic machine tools, and voila, we just gained 29 days or 30 days. All right, time to spam some of these cavalry brigades and add more units. And we also remilitarize the Rhineland. Now, after we've done that, we need to rush for Führerprinzip, so we get the modifiers for Adolf Hitler, including political power. We also got Helmerschacht, which gives consumer goods factories factor as well as military factory construction speed. We mainly just got them for the consumer goods factories factor minus 10%. Führerprinzip is done, so that means we can now go for the very first advisor. I recommend you guys pay close attention to what I'm about to say next, because the inner circle mechanics added with the Götterdämmerung DLC are really important to the survival of Germany. If you mess this up, you really will die out and you'll have to restart your run. Now, the advisors themselves, you can select from a variety of advisors, but you can only have 3 of them at the same time selected, and each of them actually offer different bonuses. So for example, Martin Bormann, which I like to go first for, offers political power gain plus 0.15, as well as it makes political advisor cost minus 15%. So getting Bormann early in the campaign means that you'll be able to afford all of your law changes, all of your advisors way before the war starts. By 38, you're going to get all of this unlocked as consequence by getting Bormann. And now whenever you select your advisors, they will be researching the focuses below them. So for example, Bormann's going to research optimize Reich service, glorify party rallies, take control of domestic affairs. Now these researches are actually pretty long, 140 days, 140 days, and then 280 days. So getting these advisors as soon as possible is really vital, because after we get, say for example, Bormann now, we will have to wait for 175 days before we get our second inner circle advisor. In my case, I like to go for Reichsleiter Tod as the second advisor, because not only does he offer civilian factory construction speed plus 10%, infrastructure construction speed, but he also has the organization Tod, which again increases the construction speed, research speed, and a lot of other massive bonuses, which this particular company is really great for. Then eventually he doubles down on that. We get military construction speed, and more importantly, we get access to the wonder weapons research. It helps us become the first nation to get nuclear missiles, which is exactly what we're going to be doing this playthrough. Now, once these advisors have researched their last focus, we will have access to either a strong successor, where we can replace Hitler with somebody else, and we're going to have some options for that. Or we can do loyalty to the Führer, which is the one I personally like, and then that's going to give construction speed, production efficiency cap, and a few other bonuses. So getting your advisors as soon as they can become available to research means you get the loyalty to the Führer faster. In most cases, I'm able to get this by 1939. Now we got 150 political power, so we're going to be going for the Krupp industrial research speed factory, so we actually get construction 1 and basic machine tools done a little bit faster. You also probably noticed that we have certain national spirits like the inner circle, which is going to give bonuses and debuffs once we research our advisors. We also have the Luftwaffe, Kriegsmarine, and the Deutsches Heer. Now we get a lot of bonuses for all three of these particular spirits by going down the focus trees for the Kriegsmarine, the Luftwaffe, and the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht has two separate paths. Whether you go historical or you go alt history, you have the option of adopting new Panzer doctrine, which is the path that the Germans actually did take historically. They became a mobilized, armor-heavy troop, which helped them win against the French and the Poles and so on early in the war. Although realistically, the Germans did have like 7 million horses during World War II, because most of their supply trains and most of their artillery was horse-dragged. Don't forget that, okay? The Allies massively outscaled them when it came down to actual mobilized warfare, but that's aside from the point. In the game, we also have the Prussian Legacy path. This is, honestly, I feel like dedicated to people that want to do infantry-only playthroughs, because this really doubles down on your infantry divisions. You get infantry division attack and breakthrough, and bonuses for Grand Battle Plan Doctrine. Then you get, again, max entrenchment and infantry attack, and then again, you get infantry attack and breakthrough, and more research bonuses for infantry weapons and so on, as well as you get the unique support battalion, the Schutztruppe battalion, which are, I believe, the stormtroopers. Now, research focus wise, we're going to go down the military path. We're going to do modern warfare as well as adopt new Panzer doctrine right after. We're doing this because we cannot yet go for the 4-year plan, which offers the 100% research bonus for industry, since if we use that now, we would not be able to use it for the 1939 researches. We want to use both of those bonuses that we get for the industry for either construction 3, dispersed industry 3, or advanced machine tools. I like to go advanced machine tools and construction 3 because that really allows me to scale up my economy massively before the war starts. But I mean, it's up to everybody, right? Dispersed industry is not bad also, obviously. Also, I actually forgot, we're going to be shift clicking all of our ships, pressing G and then K so we can start training them, and that way we get a little bit of Navy experience in the process too. As part of the new DLC, the Austrians get some flavor too. One of that is their ability to move away from the National Socialists. We want to keep them on the National Socialist side, so we're going to spend the 50 political power so they don't lose us so easily. Also, speaking of, let me actually get non-aggression pacts with all of the National Socialists, because it does improve relations a little bit. It's more of a roleplay thing, okay? We're role-playing good guy fascists here. To take a little bit of a sneak peek at the Austrian national focus, it's not massive, but it is definitely pretty interesting. Now, the reality is, the longer you wait before you integrate Austria, or better yet, do the Anschluss for Austria, the more civilian and military factories they get. Whatever the case, with this particular update, the way you do it is you need to have 25 times a bigger army than the Austrian army, which is also properly equipped units, but that can actually be lowered to 23 times if we pay the 50 political power, which we just did. So as I was saying, let's go back and there you go. Now it's 23 times bigger rather than 24 times. And it looks like we have our very first trait for the Henschel company. I'm not a big fan of the Henschel company. It's not a bad company, but I actually like a little bit of quantity over quality, to be honest. It's weird, I know most people that play as Germany go for the quality, but the reality is that when you can muster an extra 10 heavily armed medium tank divisions by just going down the quality organization, which in our case is the Daimler-Benz organization, it really makes a massive difference, because we get efficiency cap first off from the very first trait we can unlock. We can get another 10% efficiency cap later down the line. We can get production efficiency gain and resource needs reduction, production output twice +5, and of course we get some piercing, heart attack, armor, and so on. But yeah, the overall huge amount of production bonuses we get from Daimler-Benz really makes this worth it, because it just means we can outproduce all of our future rivals by a lot. And now we've done basic machine tools, so we're going to be going for dispersed industry as well as improved machine tools. Once this is done, we'll be able to go straight to advanced machine tools, so we just need to wait for construction 1 to finish, and then afterwards we start researching construction 2, and with the second industry bonus we can go for construction 3. As said before, we're going to adopt new Panzer doctrines as well, and we have a little bit of naval experience which we can use to make a brand new submarine variant. We're going to call this the Type A, and it's going to have 2 times torpedo 2s as well as a submarine engine 2. That's enough. Save this up, and this is going to be our main production model. We also have a new organization for the submarines, the HDW, which stands for How dare you! No, I'm not sure what it actually stands for, but I deep down inside, I hope it stands for that. And we will be spamming the shit out of these submarines. All 10 of our factories will be heading towards this particular submarine production. That being said, we need a field marshal, so we're going to be promoting Gerd von Rundstedt as the field marshal for this particular army, and we're also going to give him the aggressive assaulter and offensive doctrine traits. We will eventually be giving him charismatic as well once we have more command power available. Now it's time to do the 4-year plan. You might be wondering, Ludi, you still haven't finished construction 1. How are you going to actually manage this? Well, now that we got the Pack 36 researched, we're not going to research anything with the first slot, and we're going to switch over the construction 1 to the first slot to gain those extra days in order to finish construction before we finish the 4-year plan. I also want to go for the gun mass production for the extra efficiency cap, so we're going to do advanced barrel forging first in order to reach that particular trait. We're going to switch to mechanical computing, and we're going to go back here and we're going to do construction 1 with 1 day left. Wait for that 1 day to pass, and now we can do construction 2 with literally 1 day to spare before the 4-year plan finishes. So if that's not amazing timing, I don't know what is. Okay, in fact, I would subscribe if somebody calculated those times like that. Just saying. All right, and we're going to go for construction of the Reichsautobahn next because we need to get the Ruhr Dam. Remember, we get those amazing bonuses from the Ruhr Dam, but it is a 70 days focus, so we really need to rush this as soon as possible. Also going to go for the improved worker conditions next to increase our stability a little bit. I'm going to have 2 different fronts here, West Front, Ost Front, and I'm going to have the Crusader Teutonic Knight Shields for the Ost Front because reasons. Time to also improve our fighters. We're going to add 1 extra 4 times light machine guns. The goal with the fighters is actually to add 4 times 4 heavy machine guns, but right now we only have the light one, so we're going to work with what we have. The Ethiopian War finished in the nick of time because we now can send units to the Spanish Civil War. We can send 2 air wings. We're going to bring them over in Western Aragon to make sure they cover the northeastern parts of Iberia. First trait for Mauser is going to be the expert models because again, it gives production efficiency cap. So if we go back over to our infantry equipment, we went up to 66 production efficiency cap because of that particular trait. Seeing as it's only 35 days until the next advisor can be selected, we're going to do a 35 days focus, so that means we're going to do autarky next, and our units have arrived to Spain. Click B so we can strategically redeploy them. We're going to go over to the eastern front here so we can fight all the way to Barcelona. The main goal of this particular war is not necessarily to win it fast, but it is to get as much experience as possible. So we want to drag this war on for as long as possible. Plus, we want to encircle and wipe out, if we can, some of the Soviet volunteer divisions like the one we have over here. Actually, let me redeploy here. Maybe we can try and snipe up this little unit. We're going to be making a duplicate of our infantry divisions, and we're going to call this the Stormtroopers division. Also give it elite so that equipment gets assigned to this division a little bit faster than other divisions. We're doing this because we're going to give it the support anti-air as well as the cavalry recon brigade. This will give us some anti-air attack, a little bit of extra hard attack. We're also going to give it an artillery battalion, and that is going to be 45 army experience. We basically lost all of our army experience so far. This is in essence what our frontline unit is more or less going to look like. We're just going to add 1 more battalion here, the experimental weapon battalion. You'll see what I'm talking about in a few moments when we research it. And now the 4 infantry divisions we have in Spain, we're going to be changing over to the Stormtrooper division. This way we make sure that they also get a bit of priority for reinforcement, and we're going to assign high priority again for reinforcement on the Spanish front. We're also going to assign a brand new field marshal, Monsieur Gunther von Kluge, and again, I apologize if I'm butchering these names, guys. It really is not intentional. I do struggle with German names a lot more than other names. We also can assign Franz Selti at the start here. He's going to be of massive help since he gives production efficiency base and growth increase, as well as a little bit of factory output. It's better than nothing if you think about it. It did lower our stability a little bit, so we're going to have to increase our stability with some of the political actions afterwards. Another thing I like to do is switch around the priority for my factories. Whenever I've got more advanced towards constructing a factory, skip the second row, but it doesn't have enough factories assigned to it, I just push it to the top of the queue, so that way it finishes faster. We really don't have much of a fleet. We're gonna assign Herman Born in charge of the strike force, and we're gonna have an extra 2 patrol task forces, which consist of 4 destroyers and 1 light cruiser. And we're gonna do a second theater, which is gonna be dedicated for the Wolf Pack. Essentially, this is all of the submarines under the command of Karl Donitz, and right now it might not be too many of them, but eventually we're gonna get quite a few submarines. Kind of the main theme when you play as the Germans, really. Research wise, we also want to do radios and go down for improved radios too, since improved radios gives 40% defense and 25% breakthrough for our tanks, which is going to come in massive handy once we actually start getting our medium tanks. Bormann has just finished his first focus, optimized Reich services. What this gives us is the ability to get plus 10 construction speed in the various parts of Germany for just 50 political power. Now, seeing as we're building mostly in Western Germany, I'm going to be developing Western Germany, and that's going to affect all the states in the West, including the Ruhr, which after we get the dam, it's going to get 25% construction speed increase. So that is when we can start spamming the civilian factories in here. In fact, I'm going to queue them up right now, and we can also do an infrastructure beforehand. I'm going to start selling off my old panzers here, the Panzer 1's Aus A. I am never going to use light tanks, so it's pretty much useless. Might as well get something out of these, right? And we will also reposition so we can start marching towards Barcelona. Usually this front doesn't get pushed as much, so us pushing in here gives us a little bit of extra army experience overall. Let's go ahead and go for the next national focus. We did the Ruhr Dam. We just need a couple more civilian factories, so we're going to go for the Reichswerke that offers another 2 civilian factories, so then afterwards we can do the extra research slot. Getting this extra research slot earlier, it really can make a massive difference in the war. Also, we should better get the agency. I like getting my agency mid 1937, but reality is even a little bit later is not the end of the world. We are playing single player after all. And there you go. We can also do construction 3 now. Oh, the anarchists popped up. Well, these guys are trapped between a hammer and the anvil, right? What was that saying? The anvil in a hard place? I genuinely forgot what it was. But in any case, they're going to get stack wiped because they don't have a connection to the rest of their provinces now, so they don't have any more supplies, unfortunately for them. We can also use some of our army experience to get the spirits of the armed forces, including the +1 attack 50% chance, and we can also use some of the air experience to do something similar. Industry Liaison gives light aircraft research speed +15%, so that's going to make it easier for us to get our better improved aircraft designs, as well as fighter detection and air mission efficiency is pretty decent too. First, the branch upgrade we're going to do for the intelligence agency is the form department, so we can start decrypting the ciphers of France, England, and everybody else that we're going to be attacking in 1939. As our third inner circle member, I'm going to choose Himmler, since he can expand the SS or the Gestapo. I like to go for the SS branch. It gives us an operative, some counterintelligence, but more importantly, we also get special forces capacity multiplier, some extra generals available, and even he spawns some units for us that we can use, including the unique militia units. Also going to go for the delay tactics, which is going to increase the organization of my infantry. That's actually going to come in handy now, even in the war against the Spaniards. You actually can choose which side Himmler is going to be researching. I'm going to prioritize the Waffen-SS, obviously, and we're also going to start instituting price controls, because right now our method bills have 68% consumer goods factory factor, which is pretty high. We want to get that a little bit down. Cryptology department has been done, so we're going to use that to decrypt the French cipher first. Time to also research our basic medium tank chassis. Now there's 2 options. If we go for the man option, that is the best one if you want to have quality tanks, because it basically just overall improves your tanks. We get breakthrough, we get max speed, we get reliability, we get armor, piercing, heart attack, more piercing, more heart attack, production output a little bit too, breakthrough. But if we go Daimler-Benz, it's honestly shittier tanks. We see that from the fact that we start with less defense and armor, but look at that, less production cost. And most of the traits here increase the efficiency cap, decrease the cost of resources, increase a little bit the breakthrough, heart attack, and piercing and armor, but mostly just make it so we get more of these tanks. I'm gonna go for Daimler-Benz because personally I do think quantity wins over quality in this game. It's also why historically the Allies won against the Germans, right? Price control measures are done, so now we can actually use political power to lower the consumer goods factory factor for the MEFO bills. We're gonna use as much as needed here. I think in fact we need pretty much all of this really. And look at that, we're down to 6% consumer good factory factor now. The cool part about the unique autarky trade law is that we only send 15% of the resources that we have to the market, so we basically keep most of of what we're actually extracting. Plus, we also get the 5% construction and research, so it's better than nothing really. Only good thing about the MEFO bills is that they also allow us to get some production efficiency cap and efficiency growth from this particular national focus. And now we also can start sending volunteers to the Asian front. Can have up to 6 volunteers. So let's set up a brand new armed force. Put it under the command of Johannes Blaskowitz, one of my favorite generals actually. He's a very intriguing figure because Blaskowitz committed suicide in 1948 at the Nuremberg trials, although pretty much unanimously everybody on the Allied side considered that he's gonna walk away because he didn't really do any bad things during the war compared to other German generals, but he still did commit suicide. He was also a career officer starting his service in the German Empire in 1901, so more than half of his life he was basically a soldier. Now we also can send volunteers to Manchuria as well. I'm not going to send that many, 6 is enough honestly. I don't want to have to min-max that many units, but I will be sending air volunteers to Manchuria because I don't really have any airports right now in Japan, so I'm going to use Manchuria's massive airport in Liaotung and send my close air support and port strike tactical bombers to help out in northern China. And because of that ace pilot, we also now got above 50 war support, so we can switch over to the war economy, meaning we got significantly more factories now we can use. That is actually amazing. Only 16 factories are used for consumer goods for the time being. I think I'm also going to start maxing out the civilian factories in Brandenburg, Thuringen, Hanover, and because I'm doing that, I'm also going to develop the central German region, which includes Brandenburg and Thuringen. Before we do Anschluss, we have two options. We can either reorganize the Wehrmacht, which means we lose some of our current field marshals and generals, but we get advisor cost reductions for Hitler, or we can address von Neumarkt's concerns, which in turn gives some army experience, gain naval and air experience, and we also will get access to operatives and so on. I like to go for reorganizing the Wehrmacht, not only because this lets us go down the historical path of getting the treaty with the USSR and everything else in Molotov-Ribbentrop, but I don't want to befriend Czechoslovakia, okay? I feel like I should have done the Legion Condor focus a little bit earlier because it gives army experience gain, air experience gain, plus it increases the amount of volunteers we can ship off, so I kind of should have done this basically when the war started. So yeah, you probably don't want to make that mistake, do you now? Yeah, don't make my mistake basically. Let's go ahead and do Anschluss now. It's a little bit early. Historically, Austria was annexed in March 1938, but I like to take advantage of whatever factories they might have so we can scale a little bit better. We only have 60 civilian factories. We can get at least 10, 12 maybe from the Austrians, I'm hopeful. We also have 2 breakthroughs for the land research, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to research these super heavy howitzers, 246 days, and afterwards this is going to be one of my favorite support companies. You'll see why. Also, it's time for me to get my nuclear research facility. I'm going to get it in Hanover. I'm also going to get an aerospace facility in Thuringen, and let's say our naval facility over in maybe Holstein, I guess. Yeah, why not? Holstein works. Remember the industrial concern I was talking about, the organization TOD? Well, check it out. Military factory construction speed, railway construction speed, construction technology research speed, max factories in a state. It is just absolutely brilliant. I love this. I just saw there is a Soviet mountaineer division here. I'm kind of curious to see if I can push and maybe stack wipe them before the Civil War finishes. Oh, look at that. We got Anschluss. That is amazing. Now we can use the extra factories, the extra units, the extra military factories. We got 40 military factories, so we can assign some of these over to infantry equipment so we don't have any more shortages of that. Actually, I'm going to assign a couple of these also on support equipment. And we have 82 civilian factories. That is brilliant. That is actually really, really good. I like to have at least around 100 civilian factories before I start building military factories and synthetic refineries. So we're close to it now. Also going to be demanding the Sudetenland so we get more core provinces here in the Czech areas. And in case you're wondering why I haven't been using my political power, it's because I was waiting for Bormann to finish his glorified party rallies. Since now, check it out. We can get Heinz Guderian, which is a 200 political power advisor for 127. We can get all of these advisors for roughly 63. 127 also for Erwin Rommel, again, our armor advisor. It's also time that we get our first Panzer division. Now it's going to have 4 motorized infantry, 6 tank battalions, and we're also going to add the support anti-air. Eventually, we're also going to add the logistics company once we have it researched. We don't have that yet. As well as we're going to upgrade our motorized divisions to also have an extra motorized artillery brigade in them, bringing the combat width up to 21, which is a all-rounded decent combat width, let's say. We're going to need at least 10 to 15 of these divisions alongside 6 to 9 tank divisions before the war starts, so we can actually handle Poland and France fairly easily. We also have our very first Panzer III design. It is not an amazing tank, it is not a pretty, it is not a perfect tank, but it is better than nothing, and I'm simply gonna do this so I can start getting my production efficiency up with the medium tank chassis. We're gonna assign 4 construction companies. That should be enough for now. Only reason I'm doing this is to get some tanks and also to increase the production efficiency, nothing else. I will be getting proper tanks after I do the advanced panzer research focus, which is going to be done after we get the Czech lands. Now we have some options when we research our super secret projects. For example, here we could make the howitzers better, but that's going to increase the production cost by 10%, or make them shittier and that's going to lower the production cost by 15%. So a little bit boring here because honestly they're pretty good already. So if I just focus on firepower and make them even better, it might be even better. I'm not sure if that's going to be efficient enough. My test trials, I always went for the reduction in production cost. I'm just doing this as a test. Let's see, you know, a historic day for Germany. Let's see how many civilian factories. 92. Okay, we are really good, boys. I love the fact that now the Vienna award is only 35 days. It really saves up so much time for us. I'm also going to be modifying the Alpenjäger divisions. We've added anti-air, we've added artillery, and we're just going to add as many mountaineers as we possibly can here. We want to go up to 20 combat width. Right now we don't have that much army experience though, so we'll keep them as is right now. We're gonna start training some mountaineers. We want to have at least one mountaineer dedicated army that we can use on some parts of the front where we have mountains, obviously. Brave German troops liberating Tsingtao again. Remember, Tsingtao used to be a German treaty port, so technically we're just taking back what's ours, albeit we're giving it to the Japanese, but I mean, guess better than the Chinese, right? Honestly, I'm just trying to destroy as many Chinese units as possible before I start my own war, so I make it easier for the Japanese to actually help me when the war begins against the Americans. Now Johannes Blaskowitz can also get the infantry expert trait, which means we got plus 10% infantry division attack as well as plus 13% defense, and he also leveled up, so he's now significantly better than what he was at the start of the campaign. The fate of Czechoslovakia. We can make Yugoslavia a puppet and we get 50 compliance in the Czech lands. We can also partition it with the Hungarians, or we can just annex all of Czechoslovakia for us. I'm gonna actually set up Slovakia as a little puppet because this is more or less the historical path, isn't it? And that means we do have 50 compliance in both of the remaining Czech provinces. Oh, look at that. Hood is actually doing wonder weapons already. Also, don't forget, guys, to add organizations to the various equipment that you're producing. Save it up and then replace your, for example, support equipment with the new support equipment that has the modifiers of this organization affecting it, which means, for example, we increased our production cap because of the Karl Walther organization production cap trait. Same thing goes for all of, oh my god, I actually forgot to do my infantry equipment. I'm the worst. I'm actually the worst. 120,000 guns without the bonuses of the production company. That is just really bad. You have to do the same for all of the equipment, including Opel here, for example. We gotta add the organization Opel to the trucks. Adding this organization also means that every single truck, every single gun, every single artillery piece that is produced with this particular organization will increase the funds and as such get more traits for these organizations. But for me, I wasted a good 2 years not having the organizations. Don't make the same mistake. Our first super weapon has arrived, the super heavy howitzer. Now, this weapon costs 49 to produce and it offers 36 soft attack, 12 defense, 12 breakthrough. It might not seem like a lot, but it is a support company, and let me show you how much it actually offers. Let's say, for example, we're gonna add this to our stormtrooper divisions. Check it out. We increased our soft attack by 40 with just 3 of these super heavy howitzers. That's it, 3 pieces, nothing else. So it is time for us to start production of the howitzers, of course. I'm gonna actually get 2 production lines for the howitzers since I want to have these in every single frontline infantry division we have. I also want to change my conscription law to extensive conscription. So what I'm going to do first is get the state serves the military spirit of the army, which means our conscription law is only going to cost us 75 political power, saving again a ton of political power. And I'm going to add, of course, the super heavy artillery to my Alpenjägers too. So we got some tank designs from the national focus, but honestly, the design that we have right now is better than all of these. Only thing I'm going to use from here is the base medium self-propelled artillery, and I'm going to upgrade it to this particular version. Let's name this the Sturmgeschütz HOI4, save it up, and then we can actually produce some of these Sturmgeschütz 4s again with the Daimler-Benz organization, and we can add some of these to our medium tank design. There we go. That would actually increase our soft attack by 54. Okay, that is insane. That is actually insane. Just one of these increases by 54. Wow. I'm actually going to save this as a separate tank division, and I'm going to convert my tank units to that particular template once I actually have some of these medium self-propelled artillery pieces built. Now, I'm also going to do the V3 multi-charge large caliber gun. Essentially, this is similar to the rockets, where we build this particular building and then it's just going to continuously fire upon the enemy non-stop until something happens to it. It's basically the ultimate Keck gun, and I love this. Is by far one of my favorite secret projects because it's just such a meme. Our nuclear facility has finally been built. We can assign Werner Heisenberg as the leading scientist for this particular facility. Take note, we do need to have atomic research done before we basically research anything in this category. So I really should not have pushed for this as fast as I did because I don't have atomic research yet. I probably should have started built this as soon as I finished atomic research. As well as we also got the aerodynamics facility. We can assign Werner von Braun in charge of this facility, and it's kind of funny how you know, the founder of NASA is working for Nazi Germany. What is up with that, US? Can you explain that to me, please? We got our first breakthrough for the aerodynamics, and we're going to research a radar. Now, radar is actually really important for us. Now, radar is going to be used not only as the actual building itself, but also as a ship and tank module, which we can really make use of. Oh, this is actually glorious here. We just wiped out 15 Chinese divisions in this little pocket. Now, we have gotten a better version of the Panzer, the Panzer 4A, 75 armor, 62 breakthrough, 29 and 18 attack. It's not amazing, but it's way better than what we had before. So we're going to replace our Panzer 3Bs with the 4As, and that means we have to actually import a little bit of chromium now. Luckily enough, we got the Kirks right across the Sea of Marmara, and they're friendly for now at least. We now can also update the BF-109. We have 2x4 heavy machine guns. We added the self-sealing fuel tank as well as the light MG defense turret, so we get some extra air defense as well as air attack. This is going to be enough until we get the new technology, which should actually be fairly soon. 86 days until we get the improved small airframe. Now we're also about to start the war with the Poles and the Allies. We positioned our troops on the border. Need to make sure we have all the orders set up as well, and we've got our main tank force ready to charge in. We can also invite the Italians to the faction, and that means we're going to get called into their war against Ethiopia, which is a part of the Allies. So that means we're going to be at war with the Allies already. We have to ensure that we have enough air support over Poland whenever the war starts. Air support is honestly just half the fight in this game. Wait, what? We can invite Yugoslavia to our faction. Oh, I feel like this is going to go sideways, man. More importantly, though, we have 3 of our advisors completed their capstone focus, in our case, hegemony of the SS, wonder weapons, and control over domestic affairs, so we can choose whether we want to oust Hitler for somebody else or we want to be loyal. We, of course, will be going for the loyalty to the Fuhrer. We also have some paratroopers which we can use to drop into Warsaw at the right opportunity. Now let's start this up, boys. Declarius Warrius Maximus, Colin the Elias, and it's time to win this in 5 days. 5 days only, guys. Come on, we can do this. Attack, you attack. Guderian, make me proud, baby. Make me proud. We're gonna replace the Mepho bills with the economy of conquest. Essentially, we lower our consumer goods factor by conquering more and more countries. And I'm also gonna be microing a little bit my tanks so I have an easier time conquering Poland now. Oh, France, what are you doing? You actually attacking me, France? No freaking way. We have green skies all across Poland, so this should be a piece of cake now. And we also have our submarines doing quite a bit of damage in the Atlantic Ocean here. Oh my god, that's a massive fleet. Okay, maybe we need to be careful. It looks like their fleet is actually detecting our subs because they're not really great subs, to be fair. But we are researching the 1940 hull, which is significantly better than the ones we have right now. I absolutely love seeing my units getting green combat everywhere. I feel immersed, guys, like for the fact that I don't have any oil. That's also very immersed, okay, because the Germans also kind of struggle with oil. Let's get some more oil, apparently. We really need a lot of oil, boys. We also got a couple of new advisors, and we're gonna use the extra political power that we have to enact some of these decisions, like war bonds, and we can utilize domestic film industry to increase our basic war support. The fall of Warsaw. Now let's snake around and take everything else they have. Poland has capitulated. Now we can start focusing on the French. That means first off, we're gonna bring all of of our planes to the western front, and because I'm going to be attacking through Belgium, I need to do around the Maginot Line first, so it's going to have to wait a while. We are doing right now the 100% ahead of time tech bonus for the heavy tanks, as well as we get one medium tank model, so that's going to allow us to get the Tiger tanks, essentially. Since we've captured Poland, we can lower our goods consumed factories factor by 30%, so our economy of conquest is going to go down from 70% to 40%. There you go, which is a lot more bearable. Check out what the quality difference between our planes and the enemy planes looks like. We have lost 50 planes, and those are mostly old models, by the way, and they lost 200. We're basically wiping out 4 times more planes than they are. That is crazy, dude. We've done around the Maginot, so we can attack the Belgians now. We need to be really quick, though, and we need to make sure that we push through Belgium ASAP, so we get through the Ardennes and in the northern parts of France, bypassing the Maginot and capitulating the French really quick. Oh, we got the submarine as well. That's pretty good. I'm also going to be researching engine 3s because I need to make better planes, but the only issue is my engines are not good enough to add better module. Let's also take advantage of the fact that most of the French troops are not expecting this and push through Luxembourg too. It might actually be easier to go from Luxembourg into the Champagne area or into the Ardennes for that matter. There you go. I kind of was expecting that Luxembourg's going to be a little bit easier, and it was a little bit easier. Now we can push into Arlon and Sedan, and they also have officially capitulated. That's beautiful. Now we can also seize the gold in Luxembourg, which lowers by 3% our economy of conquest. We out here encircling the entirety of Belgium's army. Oh, this is just glorious. All right, it's time to bring more units in here. So let's get the 6 infantry divisions that we had as volunteers in Asia to help out here. We don't want to swamp this area with too many divisions because we're going to be missing out on logistics if we do. We want to make sure we have enough divisions to be able to push, but not too many so that we run out of logistical supplies to maneuver. Belgium capitulated, so we need to capitulate on their capitulation and try and grab as much land towards the coastline before the French and the British manage to get it. There you go. We managed to get to Ghent with our super fast tanks, and we're going to push over towards Calais. If we get the coastline, we just need a few cities on the coastline, and then we can rush to Paris, and that's it. They will capitulate afterwards. Imagine being the chattiest, most insane power in Europe for literally thousands of years, and then you lose one war and you get a reputation that sticks with you forever. Okay, come on. France should capitulate now. We got Paris. There you go. So we have 2 options. We can establish Vichy France, which is what historically happened, or we can just take all of France. I'm gonna go for Vichy France just because that's the historical path, but the reality is it's kind of a little bit better going for conquest of all of France, and then you can just establish your own Reichsprotectorate there. Let's go Vichy. Oh, hey, we got quite a few guns from them actually too. That's pretty cool. Now let's mop up whatever's left of the British troops that were left over in the French areas. Time for a quick cheeky war against what's left of the free world, and by free world I mean soon to be Reichskommissariat of Netherlands. And we finished researching radar as well. Now when that happens, we also get a radar wherever we have the research station, so we start with 1 radar as well as the ability to build more radars aside from the one in Thuringen. I'm actually going to build some in the north as well as I'm going to build around the coastline. Whilst we're waiting for our plans to go down with the invasion of the UK, we're going to be doing a central plan, and then we're going to do an armament rationalization, create the Rundungsstag, and total war. All of this will absolutely skyrocket our economy even more than it already has skyrocketed. I'm also going to get level 5 anti-air, especially in the states where I have my research facilities, because this anti-air is really going to help out with the raids. Speaking of, we also can start doing some raids against the British. We can say raid the naval engineering facility in Sussex, 46% chance of success. We can up that to 61, but we're going to have some failure. That means we're going to lose some planes. It's fine. Let's just go ahead and do that. We're going to use our naval facility to research first the anechoic tiles, which gives sub-visibility minus 25%, which is insane. Means nobody's ever going to see our submarines. Our raid was successful on the naval facility in Sussex. Apparently, we damaged the progress of them getting cruise submarine by 15%, and the facility itself received 55% damage, so they have to repair it. That is actually a massive success. We also now have the engine 3s, so we can start upgrading our planes to the better and improved versions of Focke-Wulf 190B. Same with the Kanonenvogel. Now we actually have enough thrust from the 3rd engine to increase the amount of damage we do with our bomb lock. There you go. Weight 21, thrust 25, so that is actually going to work. Beautiful. We've also settled all sorts of issues in Europe because we've partitioned it in such a way that everybody loves us. Look at that. We got literally the entirety of the Balkans as part of our faction now. We are going to support the Finns, and we will get them to join us in our war when we declare on the Soviet Union. Plus, we're doing alliance with the Spanish, so hopefully they say yes, and they did, which means we now have one more nation in the Axis. Reality is also that we have insanely good tanks as well now. We can upgrade these to the improved heavy cannons. So our Tiger 1 Alfs A have 101 armor, 68 breakthrough, 125 piercing, 26 with 35 attack, and we can even improve them more if we wanted to. Add the wet storage so we get the extra reliability, buff up their armor, breakthrough, upgrade to the improved radios, and the sloped armor as well, meaning we end up with 132 armor, 81 breakthrough. We're actually close to getting the advanced heavy tank chassis, so we're not even going to be producing too many of these. We're just going to get the production queue going, and that's pretty much it. But the reality is we're not really going to be bothering with the Tiger 1. We're going to straight up use Tiger 2s against the Soviets. Oh, would you look at that? The Greeks joined the Allies, so it's time to grab some vacation sites in the southern parts of Europe for ourselves. Let's see if the Portuguese accept our alliance too. They did! This is literally the easiest run ever. Like, all of Europe is basically on our side. With these nations on our side, we can also grab the British holdings in Gibraltar and around the Mediterranean now. Plus, we got way more ships, so might have an easier time doing some naval invasions in Britain too. Yay, the fall of Gibraltar, about time. One very important thing to do before we start the invasion of the USSR is to make sure we have enough infrastructure on the Eastern Front, at least in the areas we possess right now. So I've started building railways all around the front, as well as I've led them all the way to my capital where my supplies originate from. Basically, drag one of your railways from Berlin, hold shift, and clip it to whatever depot you want it to arrive at, and that's going to just queue up a ton of railways that will also be level 5 all the way up to maximum, basically. I also like to get a radar station done in Memel just for the memes, and we also need to get some more air bases in order to have enough lanes backing us up when the war starts. For example, in Bialystok is a good idea, also in the Prussian lands is a good idea, and even one in the southern bits. Even in Romania wouldn't be the worst idea. We've reintegrated Alsace-Lorraine, so now this is a core state of ours, meaning we take full advantage of the 2 million population in it, and we also have the war goal against the Danes, so let's go ahead and attack them. So the thing with the Danes is that after we wait for just a few hours, not even days, just a few hours, we'll get the option of turning them into a puppet. Of course, we will go for that option. It's the safest option, best option, and it means that we don't need to bother with the Danes, plus we can take the resources from them. The Swedes also decided to embargo us, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna justify on the Swedes. I know what you're thinking, Ludi, why are you not just doing the focuses? It's because I want to use my focuses for stuff that actually matters. With this update, you really have a lot of extra focuses that you should be prioritizing, which is why I'm not gonna justify on the USSR as well. I'm not actually gonna attack from the focus, and I did attack from the focus with the Poles, but I would just justify as well for the Polish war, wouldn't actually use the focus. I mostly just did it for this video so I can, you know, roleplay basically. And there you have it, the Greeks have collapsed. We've also properly started production of the tier 3 submarine. Now this particular submarine has the anechoic tiles that we research with our secret facilities, so it is significantly harder to spot. Sub visibility only 12.4. Good luck with that, allies. And we also can now attack the Shvedons, because they're scumbags that decided they don't want us to take their steel. Well, you know what, Sweden, we're gonna take your steel and you got nothing you can do about it. And do say hello to the King Tiger, the greatest heavy tank you'll ever see, which is also the heavy tank that we'll be producing en masse now, because the backbone of our Soviet front will be medium tanks. However, whenever we need to encounter and defeat Soviet tank divisions, we're gonna use our heavy tanks for that. Another strike, and we did even more damage to the facility in London, 55% damage, and it's officially Jover for the Swedes. We cracked through their lines, we got a port, so now we're gonna just ship off, say, 10 of our units into this little crack and capitulate Sweden. One by one, they shall fall to the power of the ring. Might be playing the wrong game here, I guess. German army invincible. Ayo, let's go. They finally recognize we have detected an incoming raid on one of our facilities. Now we have the maximum amount of chance of repelling the attack by having some of our planes on interception missions, some of them on air superiority, as well as we maxed out the anti-air in this region. I thought I could easily take this with infantry, but actually I had to rush over some of my mobilized divisions to take over Sweden, because they did put up quite a fight. I'm assuming those mission trees they got recently with the last few DLCs actually buffed them up a little bit. Now, I've also sent Rommel in Africa because the Italians were getting their asses handed to them, and I think it's time for me to help out against the vile British here by essentially cutting off most of their army and trapping them in this pocket, so then afterwards we can wipe them all out. There you go. Literally easiest thing imaginable. If only the Italians had actually thought about this, right? Also, the Allies are trying to bomb my nuclear facility in Hanover, and the chance of me repelling them is 100%. So I'm not saying that the Allies have horrible planes, but it kind of looks like it. I got a bit of an ace up my sleeves as well, because I'm doing the Establish the Africa Corps national focus, which is going to give Erwin Rommel the Desert Fox trait, meaning he's going to be even more of a Chad than he already is. I know, it's impossible. How can Erwin Rommel be even more of a Chad? You'll see in a moment. Wait, what? The Italian Navy actually being useful? No way, man. Ornor, the pride of the Swedish fleet, has been sunk. So anyway, oh, wait a second. All of the Swedish fleet has actually been sunk by none other than my naval bombers. Seeing as the Danes are seeking independence, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna seize all of Jutland for ourselves. You don't need Jutland if you want to be an independent nation, Denmark. That is common knowledge, really. Smart choice giving me this. Very smart choice. The alternative is much worse, trust me. Ah, screw it. I'm gonna annex it all. I'm just upset they went with seeking independence. They could have been a nice little puppet, but instead they just wanted to get annexed. I mean, what are they even thinking, man? Yet another failed UK invasion. We took the only port they had, so now we're gonna wipe out another massive amount of how do they even have manpower? This is like the 6th naval invasion that they failed. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. Seeing as we got the self-propelled super heavy artillery, we're gonna replace our regular artillery units with the super heavy units, which means we get an extra 20 soft attack, 400 extra collateral damage, and so on. We could technically keep both artillery in this one, and we could replace it, I don't know, maybe logistical company, but I really like the bonuses of the logistical company. I'm a little bit torn here, not sure what to do. Oh, we actually got the fleet as well of the Danes, so let's go ahead and add these bad boys to Monsieur Donit's fleet of beautiful submarines to continue to raid the coastlines. We're basically trying to raid the southern parts and the western parts of the Atlantic with the shitty tier 2 subs that we have, and with the tier 3 subs, we're going to be going a little bit closer to the United States coastline. Look at that. We have almost a standing fleet, 39 ships in our strike force. That is honestly impressive for Germany. The big moment is here, boys. War with the USSR, and we also get a couple of awesome generals in the process too. I really hope you guys found this video useful in getting your historical German campaign going. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.